You're there. You're gone. Go.
Okay, we're gonna make sure that the mics work first of all.
They work.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to our Floating Light Live, where we articulate, postulate, and disseminate post-float glow. I have no idea what we're talking about today. And that's okay, because we're just gonna wing it, like we always do. But I have a very special client here with us today. Her name is Destiny. She is an amazing soul, you guys. I really can't put it into words how you could describe one human being aside from a ray of sunshine. Honestly. But I'm really excited for you guys to meet her. And just know all of your comments are live.
We said disseminate.
No.
Inseminate?
No.
I don't even know the
Postulate.
Oh,
So we're gonna be back in just a few minutes, okay? Bye-bye. Dun dun dun. We're starting all over. Hooray. I hope. So great to see you. Thank you for joining us. So just so you guys know, all of your comments are posted on our big television screen so we can see all of your comments live. If you guys have any questions, please ask. We are here today with my good friend, Destiny. I'm super excited for you guys to meet her. We also, as always, have Daniel here. And we have a new co-host of Rochelle. So we're all here hanging out today, and we're gonna switch on over to the couch.
Hello.
I love you too, Hope. We miss you. Come back.
I have to do an introduction. I'm so extra.
So as we always start off our days, we actually start off with how your float went today. How was that?
It was good. It was good. It was really relaxing in the beginning, and I always feel like I'm able to enter that void that I'm not able to being in an apartment where there's always noises and my puppy, my phone, and of course everybody always hits you up when you're like, whatever.
Oh, sure.
So it's kind of nice to come here and to be able to entirely submerge yourself into absolute nothingness. It was good, but then always towards the end, my mind kind of starts to have a little bit of fun and stuff, and that's a little annoying. But at the same time, I try not to, resist whatever it is that kind of comes up because, as I've learned, anything you resist always persists. So, and I always notice that too. Anytime I've gone into a float where I'm like, just shut up, like stop it. It never stops.
And then it just
worse.
creates it even worse.
Louder.
Oh,
Yes,
for sure.
yes, and it just hops around, and so I'm learning
Hi,
to
Danielle.
just allow, with everything, pretty much,
Absolutely.
and that's hard for us people because we always want to control and hold on to things the way that we want to, and that's just not the way it is, obviously, So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I feel that. So Rochelle also got a float today. Your third float?
Yeah.
Third float? Yeah. How was that today?
That was nice. Yeah. I don't know. I never know what to say about the floats, to be honest. But I just really like
Have you
it too.
are you seeing an improvement now? Like whether it's within yourself or and this probably goes for you too, Destiny. Do you see that now that you're doing it probably more on a regular basis? Do you find that you're seeing that change in your day-to-day life too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's meditation. It's a deeper way of getting into meditation. it'd be really cool if we all had deprivation tanks in our homes because man, we would be we'd be doing good. But yeah, I definitely have noticed an improvement, and it's helped me to just kind of again, like allowing all things, and you know, it's helping me to take that into my everyday life, to just allow, even if it's something that I don't want or I don't like. I'm just learning to just
Send it loving energy.
allow. Yeah. Yeah. And then also with that though too, I don't know, because I feel like we all feel like disturbances, you know, in our everyday life and everything. And like a lot of us, there's kind of that like toxic positivity where we're like, oh no, love and light, and it's so, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, let's keep that going. But then it's like, but you're just shoving away. You're just shoving all those things away that keep coming up. So I feel like there's a point where you should allow those things, and you should allow feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, but you know, observe it from a higher perspective. And I feel like that's what floating and meditation really does, you know. And it can be hard sometimes. It can be really hard to want to observe the parts of ourselves that like we don't want to look at, or we don't like, or we don't.
And the float will gladly show you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Gladly.
Yeah, it shows you all those things. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, gladly. It's like willingly. It's like, you know what? Here are all your insecurities.
Yes.
Work on that. And you're just like, how dare you? This is my safe space. Rude.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm always intrigued to know how people go into like their first meditation or their first float and everything, because I'm like, what's going on up there? Like, where you push it? Like, I'm just curious, because it's, you know, like I would say before meditating, like I was messed up. Like I was so messed up. Like I normalized my own way of thinking and the habitual, like, just
those
nonsense.
patterns.
Yeah, and like wanting to prepare for the worst, and like really I was just creating the worst. Yeah, exactly. And the worst part about myself is I tend to self-sabotage myself, because you know I'd rather just, you know, let's get the pain over and done with right here now.
Right now, right.
Like, which is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Absolutely.
So like through this, it's just teaching me, you know, teaching me to allow.
I've learned that too. Like, I get really weird, I don't even know, visions when I float sometimes. Like today, like I woke up, I went and I showered, and then I came back and I'm like, oh, like I'm just gonna relax for a little bit. I'm gonna meditate before I go in for my shift this morning. I was like, oh, sweet. And then like I was gone, and like I woke up in like a pure panic, and I was like, what's happened? And thankfully I didn't reflect on it, but I was like, was I dreaming and was I asleep, or was I awake? Like, yeah. I can't determine anymore.
Weird.
So that's, and like I find that like today I had like a really loud meditation on to try to keep me awake.
Yeah.
Because like otherwise I'll just fall asleep, and I'm like, am I meditating or am I awake?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's that tough in between. But at the same time too though, like, I mean, our dreams, like, you know, are of importance. I haven't gotten that far in my journey yet of being able to, you know, do the whole
control.
Yeah, like that part of things. But
did you actually know that like dream a lot are actually like they have a lot of trauma, past trauma?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Weird. Because I feel like I wouldn't consider myself to have like a ton of, I mean, I feel like everybody has trauma.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Whether it be, you know, from their family, from society, you know, little a-hole kids from, you know, grade school who traumatized us. Like, you know, it varies, but I feel like the part of it is, I feel like it just depends on how strong the emotion is that you feel during that. It does, and it really, and that's the one thing, like, I used to think that, you know, if I didn't experience sexual trauma or physical abuse, gosh, I can't talk apparently, that I didn't suffer from trauma, but that's not true. And that's how it is for everybody. But a lot of people, they, you know, it's again, like they avoid them things, and they, you know, they push them away. And it's really sad, because ultimately it eventually reflects in your life.
Right. And that was, you know, that was one of the things just talking with my mentors about. She actually was the one who told me about the dreams. And I was like, I could see that in a lot of people. and then like it really got me thinking. But like we're talking about like brain patterns,
Yeah.
and like I've chosen to heal, and there's certain things that have come up recently where I'm like, I want to help this person.
Yeah.
But is it really worth it?
Sometimes though, I feel like when you're wanting to help someone, you're trying to heal a part of yourself.
Right.
Because that's what I've done for
Yes.
a very long time. I would, I'd see those people because like I feel like I'm able to, dig into people without really ever having to try hard. But I also think it's because, I don't know, I feel like I'm a pretty easy person to open up to.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. Where was I going with that? I'm sorry.
Patterns.
What, say that
We're
again?
talking about patterns.
Patterns. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought entirely.
It's all good.
Where was I going? It'll come back.
It's all
It'll
good.
come back eventually.
It'll
My
come.
mind is going a million miles an hour. There's so much going on. This is just out of my norms. I feel like me getting that out is gonna help me relax a lot more.
For sure, right.
Honestly.
Yeah, I was learning that with my mentors, and there were certain things that like certain events that it came up, and he looked at me and he's like, Megan, he's like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was really taken aback by that. And he's like, look at how much you have grown since you started seeing me in September. And I looked and I was like, wow, like
Yeah.
I'm like really seeing that growth. And my reactions to things, like healthier reactions as opposed to, I don't say trauma reactions, but like my past reactions.
But it would be trauma reactions,
Right.
though, really. Because, like,
Absolutely.
anytime we react, it's almost like that hurt child in us, either trying to
Yeah.
defend ourselves
Absolutely.
or, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so that was like, he's like, wow, he's like, look how far you've come. And I was like, I didn't see it until he pointed it out. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, and even John said the other day too, he's like, Megan, I was just looking at a video of you from like your first live, and I was like, oh, God, help me.
I
Can
actually
we
showed,
not
I actually
play
showed
this?
Rochelle that video.
Yeah.
And Rochelle's like, wow, that's Megan?
Yeah, right? It's like this shy, awkward kid.
Now
Like,
you're
who's up
hosting.
against-
Now you're the host.
Yeah, exactly. Now, like, here I sit behind the camera.
And would you say it's, like, since, like, your journey, like, have you almost found, like, a comfort in who you are as a person, so you're able to, like, no?
Because, like, you get used to the old you in your old ways.
Yes.
So when you become, like, this new person in your new ways, like, everything is very foreign. And you're, like, it throws you off killed. And you're
Yeah.
just like, well, like, but I used to do this. But you're
Yeah.
like, okay, like, this is what I'm now trying to do.
Yeah.
So, like, I discover more of myself, but I get more confused with myself. Because, like, you find these missing pieces and you're like, oh, wow, like, I don't know, this was missing. But who am I, like, now?
Yeah.
Because, like, you have all these pieces from, like, perhaps people in your past life.
Yeah.
And I was actually digging through some of my stuff, and I was like, is this really me? Or is it because that person liked this? Because that's what they were into, so that's what they liked seeing. Like, say it was for an instance, like what I used to wear.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, did I actually like this,
Yeah.
or did I like it because this person liked it?
Honestly, I like, as far as that goes, which I mean, I think this would go along with it, but kind of not really. I guess, I don't know, I feel like anything that we really need to know about ourselves is in our childhood. Because the
for
absolute
sure.
essence of who we are is from our childhood. And
Absolutely.
like, it's so weird because like I looked at old photos and I looked at how weird I dress. And like, anybody who knows me, I'm super extra. I'm always dressing however I want to, and I don't care. And at the same time too, though, I'm also looking back at my interests of things. Like, I always had an interest in ancient civilizations and you know, that stuff. And like, I feel like if you can look back at that time and see, you know what I mean, what you really were enjoying, because I mean, I do feel like you kind of pick up things along the way from other people depending on who
Absolutely.
you or surround yourself with,
Right.
of course. But I feel like as long as you like look back to the point where you were your most you, the truest you, that's like where you know. Because when you're a child, you don't care.
Right.
You don't care what you do, how you look. You just do. You create your own fun. You are just you literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's even though it's like, okay, so then you go back even further than that, like, okay, but is this you the really you? Because the only you that you know is what you're being told that you technically are. Because, you know, growing up, like, the people that are in your life fulfill you with who you are.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but like my parents like made me be this person, or I am the way I am because of them, because like my belief system or is their belief system.
Yeah.
So like when you get older, you're like, okay, like what thoughts are honest to God my own thoughts? How do I like honestly feel about this person? Because it's like, well, this person has an opinion of that person, but like what's my honest, truthful opinion of that person?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, I feel like I've been learning to like get into my like heart space lately.
Absolutely.
Like breathing into my heart, and you know, and even asking myself questions
Through your heart.
Through my heart, yeah. Or even if I'm like, you know, just checking in with myself through the day, like, how you doing, girl? How you doing in there? Like, you know, like stuff like that. And like I just go with whatever I feel. Like, am I neutral? Am I happy? Am I sad? And you know what I mean?
Because your heart knows all the answers.
Oh yeah. Oh girl.
True and true.
So I always tell people this. I always tell people about this. So and I'm sure like anybody who comes on here who knows me have probably heard this story so many times. But the heart is super powerful, okay? It's so powerful. And, okay, what is the electromagnetic field? Is it like 3 to 6 meters or something, right? It's somewhere in there. It's like so many. Yeah, so it's probably 6 feet. That's probably what it is. So, like, when you come into contact with people in that amount, people can literally feel you. Feel you. Like, no matter what it is, they can feel you.
Thank you,
and the really cool thing, though, is they did this study at the Heart Math Institute. And, again, this is something I tell everyone because I think it's so interesting, where they had a group of people, and they hooked up their brain, their heart, and their stomach, because those are the 3 brains. And they were instructed to sit at a computer screen, click on the monitor, and then it'd go black for so many seconds, and then it'd show an image. They wanted to see what emotion was associated with the image. They found before the person seen the photo with their eyes, the heart knew the emotion associated with the photo before they even seen it. Before they even seen it. Your heart literally knows if people are good for you or not. Like within so many, it's like a 20-some second time frame. Like, and we don't use that. We don't use that free tool. And like, I mean, this gets me into a whole rant only because just how like, I mean, I believe that society is getting better. I feel like people are starting to tap into themselves. The whole like COVID thing, like they had to make their own fun. They had to, you know, connect with themselves. And I mean, some,
Hi, Bob.
you know, like they had to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's this like toxic masculinity. And I'm sure there's a lot of people have heard that. And now, before any men get offended, I'm not saying y'all are toxic. I'm not saying you guys are toxic. I'm saying it's the phrases that are toxic, the things that we teach our boys, you know, growing up, like boys don't cry, like, oh, that's girly, like, oh, all these things that literally like don't even matter. And what do? They close off their heart space.
Absolutely.
They close
it
off.
That's traumatic.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
True.
So there's all these guys, the girls that
And
complain
girls.
about. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
sure.
And women can stand too hard in their masculinity.
Yep.
They definitely. And like a lot of people find weakness in their feminine side, in their divine feminine. And it's like, no, there's so much power there.
Yeah.
There's so much power there to be able to connect and feel. And like, what else are you here for?
Right.
You know?
And I learned, actually, my mentors were actually just teaching me that. They're like, if you go in and you legit say you have a yes or no question, and you can say, okay, show me my heart energy, show me my gut energy, and you can do like, again, your heart knows best.
Yeah.
So like, if you can literally feel it in your heart, it's a yes. If you feel it in your gut, don't do it.
Yes.
And like that's with anything in life though. Like, you know, when you first meet somebody, you're like, oh no.
I've literally had that happen, that literal like sinking of my stomach. And like the one thing that I'm learning to acquire is saying no. say no to those things that, you know, bring me that gut-wrenching feeling.
It's
because
hard.
It is.
It's so hard.
It is. And like for me, because I'm always considering other people's feelings before my own, and I never want to say no to other people because I'm worried about how they'll feel about themselves. So I endure myself in the suffering, and for what?
Right.
People are sucking me dry of my energy and my things, and you know, it's exhausting.
Absolutely. Like it's interesting you state that, because I was talking to my mentor again, and he was like, "Oh, he's like, it's so great that you're helping all these people." He's like, "But did you take care of yourself?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Did I?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't actually know.
Yeah.
And I thought on it, and I was like, well, like, I meditated. Like, I went to meditation for like an hour
Nice.
that day, like, before, like, I went and had like all these conversations with people.
Yeah.
And I love you, Bob. I really do. You are a true amazing soul. You and your wife need to come and see me. Love these two. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, it can be a roller coaster.
Yeah, but I remember what I was trying to say before to you. When you were talking about helping people, I find a lot of times when I'm going and like helping people, I find that I'm healing a part of myself.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
especially if you really dive deep into it, like into what the situation is. It's usually an aspect of like healing yourself. Like I be giving out so much advice. I'm like, girl, why aren't you taking your own? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know. But I'm like starting to pay attention to when I am giving people advice, and oftentimes I'm like, actually, like that advice was also meant for me
Right.
too. Like,
because you'll find even like within conversations, you know, like you'll be talking to somebody and you'll say something and you'll be like, oh wait, that was for myself.
yeah,
Because, or like, I found that like when I work with my clients, like energy flows through me constantly.
Yeah.
I'll start saying stuff and something will click, and they're like, how'd you know that? I'm like, I don't know. Did you need to hear it though?
yeah,
Like, and like sometimes with live, like we'll like get like super in depth with something,
yeah,
and like it'll start like I'll rewatch or it'll start resonating with like myself, and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Well, and that I feel like that's the thing.
Yes,
like
absolutely,
everything.
Bob.
I don't know. I feel like again, it comes back to the reflection. You know, everything.
Absolutely, because it's
Everything.
like, okay, like I was talking with my mentors about this, and Tammy, if I'm wrong, please correct me. They're saying that, you know, what you reflect out, what you project is what you reflect from within yourself. And that really made me think, because there's all these people that you draw into your life,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, what part of me is missing or that needs that healing?
Yeah.
And you kind of like start like picking that through, and you're like, oh, I can see this quality, or I can see
Yeah.
that quality. And it gets to be like it can even go further back to like, oh, well, I learned this from my mom or my dad.
Yeah.
And, like I like say I draw that in like a spouse, you know, like, and it's like, or like people that come in my life like relationship wise, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fascinating.
Yeah, and even
then,
like the
reflecting
negative
back,
ones too, with the judgments.
yes,
The judgments
absolutely.
too, I feel like again, like a lot of people try to shy away from those judgments and the dark aspects of ourselves, but ultimately, you know, there's duality in everything. There's duality within us, within the world, and it kind of, I don't know, like a lot of people, they're always like, well, if there's a God, like, why is there these bad things happening? It's like, it's just the duality. It's just what it is.
Absolutely.
It's nothing, and like to even, you know, associate certain things with being negative or positive. Like you're always wanting to push for the positive, but like really those moments of absolute crud and crap, those darkest moments, you transmute and transform.
Right. Exactly
So,
what
like, would
Tammy
you
just
really,
actually said.
Yeah, like would you really want, like, yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
would
like
you really want life to
yeah,
only be
like, and I've
would
heard
you
this
learn?
right, yeah, and I've heard this before too, where they're like, if you went to go and see a movie and it was all oh la-di-da-di-da and like super fun and great, would you go and see it? Probably not.
Yeah.
No, there's no excitement there. Like nobody actually wants that. I think a lot of people want stability, and they think that that's where happiness is, but stability is where all dreams go to die.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They do.
That is so amazing.
It's like, it's
Wow.
crazy, but like, but it's like a society thing too, because
Yeah.
everyone's like, go to school,
Yeah.
go to college,
Get
find your mate.
married.
Yeah, get married,
Have kids.
get that job, get that money, and everybody
that house.
gets there. Yeah, everybody gets there,
And die.
and then at some point they realize like
So
none of
it's-
this matters.
Yeah.
Why?
None
That's
of
like
this
that's
literally
so like
matters.
what our today's society is about.
Oh
Like
yeah.
our society right now is like, oh, you have to be married by 25. By
Mhm.
30, you should have 2 or 3 kids. Like you should
Yeah.
have like your
And
own
people are
house by
stressing
then.
themselves out, and they're
Through
forcing
and
things.
through.
Forcing things.
Like getting into
forcing
situations.
relationships. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Forcing situations, relationships. All I've done it. I've literally done it. I've tried to force things. Like I'm well aware that I've done that.
Yeah,
And
I agree. Me
it's
too.
just it's not, nothing is supposed to be that way. Everything is supposed to flow. And you notice too, like when you get in an anxious state, like you're trying to force things. And like because I'm doing this thing where, you know, I try to pay attention to my body
Absolutely.
when I'm in a good mood, when I'm in a bad mood, so I can just like pay attention to what's
What you're feeling.
internally going on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I feel, and it's really important, I feel like, to also notice when you do feel good as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
because,
like when you notice that,
Mhm.
Right,
you
'cause,
can
like,
follow that.
everybody, you know, reflects so much on the negative
Yes.
and like the complaining. And it's like, oh, this is what I like. Oh, my life sucks.
Yeah.
Or da 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 da.
But those are the people who are they're getting caught up. They're
Right.
getting lost in the so-called
But
negative.
they find that like comfort within
Oh, yeah.
that.
Well, it's
so
their
it's like,
story too.
right. So,
It's
like,
a part of them. They don't want to,
absolutely.
and it's scary to like think of. I think a lot of people are actually really scared of what they're capable of.
Oh, for
Mm.
sure. Like their
You
true
know.
potential ability. Like Dan and I, we were talking about this a few months ago. I'm like, if you honestly got your full effort into something for 6 months,
Yeah.
your true potential,
hmm
where would you be? Like nothing holding you back. And he's like, well, like we'd all be freaking millionaires. like honest to God, like we'd
Yeah.
be like, and it's not even like a millionaire, like physically speaking, like money wise, like
Yeah.
you're
Just
rich within
abundance.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And wow, that just really triggers something for me. Wow. Um, but Tammy is absolutely right. No, what you bring is what you think. Everything you do
Whoa.
without judgment. You know, programming is such a huge thing.
Yes.
We talk about that
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
And Tommy, that is amazing. I do believe that certain people are brought to you for a reason. I feel that way with one of my best friends. He's been through a lot in life, and I've always been that constant in his life. And in a way, I do feel as if I have healed him, in all the right ways, of course. But I do believe that we are meant to be for certain people, and those are those people.
With certain people, you said?
Certain people, yeah. Like nobody is out of coincidence of meeting.
No,
Like
absolutely.
there's always a
no
reason.
accidents, because again, if everybody is a reflection of us,
Oh, absolutely.
it's gonna either pull out the negative or it's gonna pull out the positive. You know,
Absolutely.
but like both are worth looking at. You know. Absolutely. Like I've noticed myself, like where I've kind of casted like certain judgments on people, and I'm like, I do that though.
Right.
Like I so do that, and like I need just being honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, because even if it is something that's like negative that you are judging, usually you can take those negative things and harness a power with that. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I'm into astrology and I actually like over the whole COVID thing, I
Wow.
kind of like dabbled into that, and I learned about your Lilith. Now your Lilith, it's your dark side of your personality. And they talked about, again, how there's actually a lot of power that's held there. And mine was actually Gemini. I think me and you talked about that,
Yes.
didn't we? Yes. So a lot of people listen to me and like what I have to say.
Absolutely.
And like I can either use that with like drama if I wanted to.
Because you're
and like
two-faced.
yep. Or I can use that for something that I'm very passionate about.
Through and
You know?
through.
Something that's like towards the good of people. You know, and a lot of people, again, they want to push away that dark side, but it's like there's power there. Like there's power there.
Embrace it.
Yes. Absolutely.
And you know, Bob was saying too, you know, he was married at 18, and he was 39 when his youngest was 18. And some people that's another thing, you know, like people are like, well, like my 20-year-old is gonna be 20 and I'm gonna be like 50, or like I'm gonna be 60.
Yeah.
Like that terrifies people.
I don't
like,
get it.
Why am I an old
and a lot of people, everyone's always like, oh, don't get old, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
right?
Honestly, I think it's kind of cool. Like, I would imagine it's kind of cool to, like, get old and, you know, start to get a little crusty and just really not care about what anybody thinks or says.
Right.
Or, you know, there's that old guy who's out there who just tells you exactly like it is. And you're like, you know, I have a certain amount of respect for you.
Like, I love
kind
you.
of being rude. Like, I still respect you a little bit.
Like, that's so true, though. Like,
yeah.
Those people.
Yeah, guys.
What's up?
I want my natal chart done.
Your natal chart?
Yes.
Okay, so I do have to say, so
you can get them free online too.
Yes.
I don't trust those.
They're really nice though.
Oh, they're true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
they're
like,
very helpful.
there's a few different. Okay, so there's a few different apps that. Actually, one of my friends introduced me. I didn't know that there was charts. I thought it was just your sun sign, because most people who don't believe in astrology, they're looking at their sun sign and they're reading their daily horoscope. Okay, it can go with a lot of different people. Whereas your chart, so when's your birthday?
March 30th.
March 30th. So
95.
Are you Aries?
Yep, Aries.
Okay, so you're an Aries. Okay. So your sun sign might be Aries, but your moods and emotions could be of a completely different side. Your rising could be of a completely different side. Now, your rising is the first thing that people get from you. It's their, you know, first impression and stuff. And depending on which house, because there's different houses too, which stand for different things. So like there's a house for the self. So if you have your, you know, your rising in your first house, it's very present in your personality, okay? So like for instance, I'm a Cancer, but my rising is Sagittarius. And I was always like, why am I attracting all these Sagittarius firemen in my life? Well, because the first impression that they get is a Sagittarius, you know? But it's also in my first house, so it's actually a part of who I am, you know, which I'm not surprised just by like all like, you know, the philosophical things that I'm kind of into and just all that stuff. I'm just not surprised. But yeah, the way you love could be completely different. The way you communicate could be completely different. Like that's why everybody's so, what?
You're saying it could be completely different than an Aries?
Yep.
Or sun sign?
Like I would say, I mean, I have pretty heavy Cancer in my chart, which is the emotional, intuitive. It's it's one of the cardinal signs, because each sign, because there's the earth, air, fire, water. Each of them have a cardinal, and then there's the fixed, the mutable. You are a cardinal sign, like me. Nice. So you are, you know, the one who's like gets things started. It's like the leaders of those
I'm
signs.
good at starting things.
I was just telling you that today. You're all motivated.
Oh, yeah.
to go.
Yeah, and that's how Aries are. They're very motivated. They're very like work-oriented. Very, I don't know, there's also like other personality traits as well with that and everything, but I definitely feel like it's worth looking into because it's a free tool to get to know the depths of yourself. And there's actually this one app called The Pattern, and I suggest everybody to get it because it's cool because it's astrology, but it doesn't use like the terms of the signs. It just describes you as a person. And it's very intricately detailed, like so creepy detailed. Like it's just like really weird. There's a lot of things about myself that I've read on there that like I wouldn't say that I was like, I didn't necessarily bring it out and like vocalize it. You know what I mean? Wow, it was like something I read and I was like, oh, yeah.
I do that too.
Yeah, right? It's like, it's really, really weird. So I suggest everybody to get into it because there's parts of yourself that maybe like you know, but you don't like really know. You know what I mean? And the thing is with astrology, I think a lot of people, you know, they just think it's bogus. And like, you know, if you do follow like a horoscope thing, it can seem bogus. But I will say with The Pattern, it's really cool because it talks about your timing, but it talks about how, you know, if you're in alignment, like this is what's going to happen. If you're resisting, if you're going against, like this is the possibility. And literally like everything that I've read is like super spot on and really weird. And like even for me right now, I'm opening up right now, I guess.
Nice.
And I'm becoming the woman that I'm supposed to be. And I'd say that this year has been the most intense year as far as, you know, my changing of like my patterns, my internal patterns, my emotional patterns. Like it's so weird, like looking back at the person who I used to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also, like, I don't know, sometimes I have this internal fight, like, God, like if I would have realized all this stuff sooner, like maybe I would, but I'm like, no, you're exactly where you're supposed to.
What was
as
the
long
name
as
of the app?
the pattern. Mm-hmm.
It's
I almost want to look it
it's
up
black
right
and
now.
white, and
Yes,
it's like
it's so cool. It's so good.
it looks like the what's that called?
Fibonacci
wave.
sequence?
The
Maybe I'll get it.
Well,
on here.
It's like a wave.
Golden ratio?
kind of.
well, it's the yin and yang.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Oh.
I can
Maybe
show you it if y'all
knows
want.
that.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, it doesn't. Just
So
kidding.
can
I'm
you
losing
do
my
all
mind.
your charts and stuff if you don't know what time you're born?
So,
just
preferably,
helps.
so the only thing that will be off is your rising. So if you can find out your birth time, or at least know within the 2 hours that you were born, it would be amazing because it's the sign that was rising at the time of your birth.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yeah. And I would say I'm like
don't-
ancient civilizations have relied on this stuff.
Yep.
Oh, there is, I will say though, so I think that there's a spot where you can actually like put that you don't know your time, I think. And if that doesn't do it, there's also free natal charts that you can, you know, go and plug in on Google and stuff. And there's an option on there as well. So really the only thing that will be off is your rising, but you should find it out because I think it's really interesting. Because like that's when I figured out a lot of stuff about myself personally, just because I was like, what? Because again, I was like, why am I attracting these garbage people into my life? And here, it's the number one thing on my whole chart because I was like, no, Sagittarius men, ew, no, thank you. And then here, I've been it the whole time.
Surprise!
For real. Like, no.
So during this time of COVID, were you learning about this, or were you tracking the actual pandemic?
So, I actually, like, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was, like, worried about the whole pandemic thing, because I was just like, people are going to emerge as something, like, they're either going to, like, because like, there was those people, they'd get really drunk, or they'd, you know what I mean, like
It's like that was pushed, too. Like, this is an option, everyone.
Yes, no, absolutely. And, like, I don't know, so I didn't really pay attention to that so much, because I just was kind of putting out, like, I would say, like, good energy to other people, kind of being like, you know, like I know this is going to be hard on people, but ultimately if they're willing to, you know, take a look and look into themselves, they'll, you know, see, you know, some of the things that they either need to work on, or, you know, there's people who are starting up their own actual thing because they, you know, they got crafty in, you know, the pandemic. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, you know, having to, you know, learn how to get creative again. Whereas, like, it was nice because I actually, you know, I picked up painting again. And I got a puppy right before this whole thing. So I don't know, I kind of felt like the universe had me set through the whole COVID thing. But through COVID, I just kind of picked up, you know, I just kind of pick and choose when I feel like, you know, learning stuff. I feel like I was kind of going through my own little bit of internal struggle for sure with just some, you know, thought patterns that I was still struggling with, and I don't know, they were just very much so reflecting in my life. And like as of lately, since I haven't forced anything or pushed for anything, like I just feel so much more in the flow of who I am as a person, and even like unapologetically, you know, and just like things are coming to fruition for me that, you know, probably wouldn't have been able to happen before. You know, it was a really beautiful time. I got to hang out with my sister a lot, and she's very much so, we get to talk a lot about deep things. She's actually helped me like work through a lot of things, which is, I mean, awesome. She's 17 years old. Like, she's such a young little ray of sunshine in my life. Yeah, so like we talked a lot through the pandemic, and I feel like the one thing that I tended to always like struggle with was kind of in like the relationship department. And it was weird because like I just observed like all the different experiences that I had like reflecting back at me, and I was literally like doing the things to other people that I would get annoyed by if somebody else did it to me. You know, and I was like, oh my God, it was right in front of my face. Like, It's so simple. But, you know, it's just, like, a lot of us fall in that trap of, like, feeling bad for ourselves. And, you know, like, poor me, like, oh, you know, I must not be anything, like, blah, blah, blah. But I will say, like, as far as, you know, relationships and stuff go, I have learned that I feel like a lot of people take offense when, you know, somebody chooses another person over us. Like, we think, like, oh, well, we must not be good-looking enough, or, you know, not, you know, good enough just in general. But really, those people, you know, their soul needs to go through somebody else. They need to go and have that experience.
Yeah.
You don't want them anyways. You don't. You don't want them as that person.
Especially if they don't want you.
Yes, exactly.
That's so true. Like, that's the thing, though, too. Like, you know, people always talk about, like, oh, like, I was with my boyfriend, you know, for 4 years, and, like, there was no ring, and da-da-da-da, and he got out of that relationship, and he was engaged in 2 years. Why couldn't you do that for me? It's, like, because men won't commit unless, like,
anything feeling forced.
Right. And, like, that's kind of, like, the thing, though. Like, if your man isn't showing action towards stuff like that, or you've never talked about it, will he ever? Like, if that's not in a day-to-day talk, like, it should be. And, like, not a day-to-day talk, but, like, if they're not willing to make that effort, like, there's somebody out there who's ready.
I just feel like there's, like, a level of honesty that people have to have with one another, and I feel like a lot of people...
And each other.
Yes.
Like
yourself.
Yes, absolutely. There's, like, so many people where they, like, they say that they don't want to get married and they don't want to have kids, but then their partner is on a totally different page. You know, but they don't talk about that because they're scared of how their partner is going to respond. But really, you're manipulating time. You're manipulating another person's, you know, everything. You're manipulating.
Absolutely.
And, like, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping that person. But so many people, like you said, how they're like, oh, we've been together for this long. And a lot of people will, like, stick in that.
Exactly. Because they're like, oh, he'll change, or this will work out.
Yes. And it's like, but you don't, like, why would you want to change that person? Like, you're going to constantly remind them how they're not good enough for you.
Right.
Why they're not, you know what I mean? And, like, that's not fair to them either, you know? And it goes both ways. It definitely goes both ways.
True.
This is why natal charts are important.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Astrology.
And Bob,
astrology, just look at their charts, see if you're compatible. No, I'm kidding.
And Bob, you're absolutely right. I do feel that, obviously, floating has helped many people. It's healed a lot of people. I mean, it's healed myself. I'm sure you can vouch for that too, Destiny. You know, all the experiences that, you know, we've all had in our own journeys that we've had, and that's why we're here. We're here to help people. That's what we're here to do. You know, this is a place of healing, whether it's the guide that brings you back or the experience that you experienced in a float tank. Like, if you guys ever want to share that with us, please do. Like, we're not just your guides. Like, we're so much more than that.
You can even come on the Floating Light Live.
Yeah, you can come on Floating Light Live if you wish. Seriously? Come hang out with us.
I feel like a lot of people are, like, oddly, like, they want to connect, but they're also, like, really scared too at the same time. Like, even like simple conversations like that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Because it's like, oh, well, what am I going to discover about myself?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of, like, reliving their past patterns.
Oh, yeah. Being alone with
and
themselves.
Vulnerable, yeah. And, like, that's what I used to be afraid of. Like, I was like, well, I'm going to have to relive XYZ and XYZ. But it was like, okay, but you're also healing from it, like, to move forward from it.
Well, and we have all these different things in the world overstimulating us, you know, drinking, drugs, you know, there's so many things
eating,
that,
games,
eating,
TV.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, like, overstimulating us constantly. And nobody really just, like, sits with themselves. Because, I mean, look at all the, you know what I mean? Like, there's so yes, exactly. Totally. And the thing is that nothing will ever feed, no amount of whatever it is that you want will feed that, will fill that void. Nothing. People think that money will be the way to, like, fill that void. Well, if I had money, I'd have this, this, and this. Well, thing is the moment that we started investing into the material world, that is where the people went wrong.
Yep.
That is entirely where people went wrong. Because I've noticed too, like, anytime I wanted something so bad, it would just, like, push against me. But at the same time, like, that shouldn't be important.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I
you
felt
should be
that
able
too.
to, you know, connect with this. Like, if you're really connected with yourself, you'll never feel alone, no matter
True
what.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And Cabrillo, we started about over a year ago in March. Actually, when
I
Daniel
started,
was hired.
yeah.
The day Dan was hired, we launched it.
And now we just took on our newest flowtage therapist.
Yeah, and now we have Rochelle here with us now too. Our new
Say hi, Michelle.
massage. Can't speak.
Yeah, don't say
I
that.
was gonna say flotage. I was like new massage
Well,
therapist.
massage. I still say flowtage.
I know.
Can you still say masseur or no?
Masseur.
No, that's
Masseur?
what I thought too.
Oh.
No, I wasn't.
I
I,
call-
know
I
better.
called
Can't say
Megan a
that. You
Can't
can't say
say that.
massage
I didn't know.
parlors. Like,
Oh, okay,
come
yeah.
on.
Yes, Scott, you are
LTM.
absolutely
Professional
correct.
massage therapist.
You are
LTM.
absolutely correct.
Tammy, Ron, you guys are
Yes.
amazing. All of
So
you.
as if everybody's here, so Scott, I know you're here. Tammy, are you still here with Ron? Good comment,
it's
please.
not
That would
cold
be
now.
great.
It's okay. I'll deal with it. Oh, God. it might
Yes,
be
Cabrillo,
like
and
that.
it is fantastic. You can book with other Rochelle and or I. Online.
Yeah, so you're gonna.
Tammy,
I'll
where
just do it.
are
So,
you?
like, help.
And then you can just.
I don't know if
lift it
she's still here or
and then
not.
Put it on top.
She might
Oh,
not.
yeah, I
That's
hope
what-
Oh.
I know Scott's
Everyone
here.
gets it wrong.
Okay, so you go like that?
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Just your rate.
Nice. Thank you.
You feel
I got this.
I said blueberry, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
pear.
it's good.
Maybe she had.
Wait, what?
I said not pear.
No.
Oh,
mm-mm.
good.
What kind did you get?
Blueberry.
Ooh.
Well, good.
Yep. Massage and a
Hi, Dad.
flowtage for the all-around physical, mental, and emotional healing.
Yeah, Dan, how was your
Totally.
flotage?
I'm thankful for it. Yeah. And it really made me appreciate everything else. Like, lights were brighter,
Yeah.
food tasted better, and I'm like, I didn't know a massage could do this.
Yeah.
And that was with Rochelle.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So blessed
Daniel's
to have you.
extremely grateful.
Come, Cabrillo.
Oh, yeah,
It'll be
very.
fun. You
Yeah,
and Dan
dude,
can
you got
do
a
a
place to stay?
flotage flip. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, you guys could do a flow
You guys can do a flotage flow
journey.
journey together.
Nah. You could do it on it. I'll do it another day.
It's not together. You guys split.
You know what we do. You know.
Oh, man.
So, okay, I know Scott Bayman is still here. I'm assuming Ronnie. See, I call my mentors Ronnie all the time. Sorry if you're still here. Tammy and Ron aren't currently here. But what I would like to do is I would actually really like for us all to go into a 5-minute meditation together. I really think we should all join in on that. Cabrillo, I love you. You're awesome. I really think we should take a few minutes to really dive deep into that. Scott, I know you're here, sending, obviously, of course, healing energy as always to Flow Light. So we're going to do that for about 5 minutes. Do you have any meditation? No, that's fine. That's fine. So we're just going to go in.
Megan's gonna guide me.
No.
Yes, you can.
We're just going to go in with some silence because that seems to be all we need. He's already going. He's already going.
Okay, so everybody in.
So, we're just gonna go in. If you guys got meditation music playing at your places, feel free to play that along. We're just gonna go in for a few minutes, and then I will slowly bring you guys back. But if y'all are ready, we shall begin. Alrighty, guys. Slowly come on back. Take your time.
They're very disciplined. That was very much needed. Serious.
Yeah, that felt really nice. Oh my goodness.
How are you feeling, Jen? Good.
That was especially important
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We all appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions? Do you have any other words of encouragement before we leave? Final words. Dun dun dun.
I would have to say, just understand that we're here for connection and creation. Don't close off your heart to people, or I don't know. I would say people, because people can lead you to opportunities. Understand duality. That there's no such thing as good or bad. Because as soon as you label things as good, you're going to want to push for that. If you want to associate things with being bad, you're going to right away want to push them away. Just understand that things are just things and they are just happening, and that nothing needs to be that serious. Play, have fun, you know. Just be you, and unapologetically, because none of us are getting out of it alive anyways, you know? So you might as well embrace who you are now. I've been learning to do that, so I don't know, and just be lighthearted, I guess. Yeah.
Any final words, Dan?
Just love.
Michelle?
No words.
No
Hey,
worries.
guys.
We just zoned out. Like, it's cool.
Maybe one suggestion, because I bet if you walked outside your front door right now, I bet the rain sounds amazing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet the
Smell
wind
it.
sounds beautiful. So if you have a couple minutes, I'm gonna go out there and just enjoy.
Embrace.
So, do yourself a favor.
Do yourself a favor.
Definitely.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. We truly appreciate it. We will be back in 2 weeks with Joshua Rederson and the Rederson family story. It's incredibly amazing. You guys don't want to miss out on it. It's truly it's breathtakingly beautiful.
Nice.
I don't really have any other words for tonight. I'm pretty sure everything was said that needed to be said, as always. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Bye, y'all.